For more on this story, our guest is Philip Ingram. He's joining us from London. Ingram is a journalist and former British military intelligence officer. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us on France 24. I'd like to talk to you about strategy. Have the events of October 7th and since then, have the events been going according to what Hamas had planned or foreseen?
Well, part of the issue is we don't know what the end state is that Hamas had planned. If they planned to poke the Israeli bear and cause a reaction on the ground, they've achieved that. But they put an awful lot of effort into spending time planning a very complex operation. And I think the Hamas terrorist attack into Israel on the 7th of October is potentially only phase one of a much larger plan that will involve other Iranian interests in the region.
So you see the conflict, from what I understand you're saying, you see it spreading.
I see there's very real potential for it spreading. We're seeing additional actions by Hezbollah from Lebanon. We're seeing actions from other Iranian related groups across in Iraq, missiles being fired from Yemen, the Americans having to attack what they describe as IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard sites inside Syria last night. And the Americans wouldn't put two carrier battle groups into the Eastern Mediterranean to assist Israel in dealing with Hamas in that war because Israel's perfectly capable of dealing with that themselves. They've put that in there because they see the real potential for escalation.
Well, I mean, here's the devil's advocate here. Is the U.S. presence, the beefed up U.S. presence in the region, because it's always been present, the fact that the U.S. is putting more, aircraft and other ammunition and weapons, does that, in a sense, kind of fuel the fire a bit? Or is this really just a reaction to the realities on the ground?
I think this is just a reaction to the realities on the ground and preparing to deal with anything that comes in. And it's also sending a very strong diplomatic message. We have to remember the military are not just there to fight. Once they have to start putting their military training into action, then diplomacy has failed. The military are as much a political tool as anything else. So it's sending a very, very clear signal with these two new carrier battle groups, not just using what is normally stationed in the area, but these new capabilities moved in to send a very clear statement to Iran and to others that may try and interfere.
All right, well, let's kind of switch over now to the other side, to Israel. Where does it stand? What are Israel's objectives in the end? I mean, what is the end goal for Israel at this point?
Yeah, well, Israel has stated that its objective is the complete destruction of Hamas, and I think that is probably one step too far. But they are going to try very hard to cause Hamas as much damage as possible. And what we're seeing at the moment with the ground incursions are what I class as shaping operations. They're trying to identify where Hamas's potential ambush positions are. They're trying to identify routes through any pre-prepared defenses that are there. They're trying to identify entrances to the tunnel system where Hamas can pop up and to set operations where they can almost certainly have special forces trying to identify where the hostages are being kept so that if they can mount any rescue operations, they'll try and do that as a ground incursion occurs.
So, Philip Ingram, you've told us that you believe that the conflict will spread. Do you think that a ground offensive will happen?
I think the conflict has got a real potential to spread. We're seeing the indicators of that at the moment. If diplomacy works, it'll stop it spreading. I do think there has to be a ground incursion. Israel has not changed its objectives in any way, shape, or form. They've doubled down on the fact that they want to destroy Hamas. The only way to do that is to take ground and to occupy it. And actually, it is probably safer for the Palestinian civilians that Hamas are not allowing to leave from that northern part of the Gaza Strip for ground forces to come in rather than a continued action from the air, because the air cannot destroy Hamas, and Hamas are taking too many Palestinian individuals, civilians who've got nothing to do with the conflict, who should be safe, and using them as human shields.
Philip Ingram, thank you so much for joining us live from London with that analysis.
Thank you.